Hey everyone, and welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving straight into a massive shift that is literally happening right in front of us. I mean, think about it. Just a couple of years ago, the idea of a humanoid robot casually folding your laundry or autonomously sorting heavy freight in a warehouse, that was pure sci-fi, right? But today, it's a rapidly scaling commercial reality. We're stepping out of the science fiction novels and straight into everyday life. For decades, we've watched these movies with machines walking among us, and it honestly always felt like this super distant, almost impossible dream. But as we're going to unpack in our source material today, that future is no longer just a dream. It's being built right now in engineering labs all over the globe. So as these robots start walking out of those isolated labs and onto our factory floors, into our hospitals, and eventually into our living rooms, we really have to stop and ask ourselves, are we truly ready for a world where intelligent machines work right beside us? Because, you see, this isn't just a tech question anymore. It is a deeply human one. It forces us to entirely rethink how we live, how we work, and, well, how we even define our own roles in a society that we're going to share with artificial intelligence. Okay, Section 1, Science Fiction Becomes Reality. The sheer scope of what modern robotics can pull off right now is just staggering. Today's humanoid robots, they're absolutely not those basic, clunky animatronics stuck on a track. They're highly capable systems that process massive chunks of environmental data in literal milliseconds. They can navigate a completely messy, unpredictable room without bumping into a single thing. They understand nuanced spoken commands in real time, and they can execute some incredibly complex physical movements. We're talking about machines custom-built to walk, talk, and interact with us in spaces designed for humans, not for robots. And here's the thing. The real technological leap we're seeing right now isn't just mechanical. Actually, scratch that. It's mostly cognitive. Back in the day, robotics was all about rigid, programmed instructions. A human wrote the code, and the machine followed it, step by boring step. But the defining trait of modern AI robots is that they learn from experience. Using things like reinforcement learning and advanced neural networks, they aren't just reading a script. They're learning by trial and error. Honestly, a lot like a toddler does. If a robot drops a cup, the system flags that failure, tweaks its grip strength, and tries again until it gets it right. That adaptability, that's exactly what makes them such a total game changer. Moving on to Section 2, Transforming Our Daily Workplaces. When you look at manufacturing, AI is letting robots move way past those repetitive assembly line gigs. They're now stepping up to take on extreme precision roles and the kind of highly dangerous heavy lifting that puts human safety at risk. And over in healthcare, the shift is getting profoundly personal. We're already seeing robotic systems assisting surgeons in the OR with this crazy sub-millimeter precision that human hands just literally cannot match. And the long-term vision goes even further, bringing them into daily care facilities to eventually support the elderly with mobility and everyday tasks. Now look, it's super easy to spiral into a dystopian panic here and assume we're all just going to be completely replaced. But the overwhelming consensus in our source material is that the end game here isn't replacement, it's augmentation. These robots are incredibly powerful tools designed to work in tandem with us. So the real question of readiness is, are we prepared to adapt our own workflows to actually use these machines? Are we ready to hand off the heavy lifting and the crazy computational precision to the bots so we can focus on the empathy, the strategy, and the genuine human creativity? Which brings us to the elephant in the room. Section 3. Will AI take jobs? While it's 100% true that some jobs are going to change fundamentally or maybe even vanish entirely, history actually gives us a really comforting roadmap for this kind of transition. Remember when the internet first blew up? There was massive panic about job loss. And yeah, sure, some legacy industries shrank, but it also birthed millions of entirely unforeseen careers. I mean, nobody was a cloud architect or an app developer before the web. The AI revolution is poised to follow that exact same trajectory. As this tech scales up, we're going to need a massive new workforce to manage, train, repair, and just collaborate with these new physical systems. It all points to this idea that the successful economy of tomorrow isn't some sci-fi battle for supremacy. It's a collaboration. Like this quote highlights, the future workplace may not be humans versus machines. It may be humans working together with intelligent technology. The folks who thrive in the coming decades are most likely going to be the ones who figure out how to leverage AI and robotics to multiply their own output and enhance their productivity. Let's zoom out a bit for Section 4. The global technology race. Nations everywhere know exactly what's at stake here. They are pouring billions upon billions into AI, robotics, and advanced manufacturing. It is quite literally the modern space race. But instead of putting a person on the moon, the finish line is achieving seamless robotic integration, and maybe even eventually, artificial general intelligence, systems that can actually match our cognitive abilities across the board. So the readiness question totally expands here. Are nations truly prepared for the massive geopolitical earthquake this technology is going to trigger? Because winning this race, it's not just about the bragging rights of building a smarter machine. It literally dictates who gets to write the rules for global commerce, security, and infrastructure for the next 100 years. It's a fundamental shift in geopolitical power driven completely by code and hardware. The countries that lead this AI transition are essentially going to shape the future global economy and heavily dictate how the modern world works. Which leads us to our final point. Section 5, shaping our robotic future. Moving forward, we are facing 3 absolutely massive challenges that humanity has to solve together. First up, we've got to build rock-solid safety frameworks to keep AI controlled and predictable as it starts physically moving around in our spaces. Second, we have to actively protect human livelihoods during this economic transition so everyday workers aren't just abruptly left behind. And third, which honestly might be the hardest one of all, we need to make sure that the insane wealth and productivity generated by robotic labor actually lifts up society as a whole, rather than just pulling at the very top. You have to remember the technology itself, it's totally neutral. It doesn't have a moral compass, it doesn't have a secret agenda. It's just an incredibly sophisticated, world-altering tool. Ultimately, whether this transition is a success or a failure relies entirely on our wisdom. Are we ready to regulate it responsibly? Are we prepared to protect the most vulnerable in our workforce? Because the choices we're making today, as creators, as leaders, as citizens, they are going to completely dictate our trajectory. The era of AI robots isn't politely waiting for the next century. It is accelerating all around us right now. So I want to leave you with this one lingering thought to chew on. The future is arriving way faster than any of us expected. But are we truly ready? Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer. Keep learning, keep asking those big questions, and I'll catch you next time.